Hi, for this episode, I'll be talking about four different points that support and also counter my thesis statement, which is Papua New Guinea's 70% rape rate persists because of oppressive culture and authorities' ineffectiveness. And my first supporting argument is that oppressive culture normalizes sexual violence. What I mean by this is that harmful practices continue to be carried out in Papua New Guinea, which become pathways to sexual violence. And the first one is polygamy. Polygamy is a tradition in highland regions and remote communities where men gain status by having many wives. In terms of functionality, polygamy acts to solve issues of infertility, widowhood, and domestic obligations. Although consent from women is necessary, her choice is dictated by considerations from everyone involved, including her family, his, and the community that she lives in. Even in areas where polygamy is not customary, men with money and positions of power are buying women. Papua New Guinea's National Civil Registry Office only just amended the law to ban the practice of taking multiple wives in 2014. Before then, customary marriages were not even required to be registered under law. The correlation between polygamy with violence compresses more than just sexual. Women cite polygamy as a key factor in family violence because a husband's plan to marry again often trigger arguments. According to CEDAW, the traditional right of men to have several wives have become distorted, as men take the hands of wives without supporting them. This leads to hostility that escalates to violence. As said by the International Women's Development Agency, polygamous marriages in the past were practiced by great leaders who had resources and whose first wife couldn't handle the workload and children. Not today. Every man wants to have more than one wife with no purpose. Evidently, in a UN report, it is stated that intimate partner violence is the predominant form of violence in polygamous relationships. Girls are dropping out of school at an early age to become second or third wives. And the second tradition is called bride pricing. The indigenous population of PNG is divided to several thousand tribes, many of which live in isolated interiors of the country. In these parts, it is traditional for men to pay bride prices, which are payments consisting of goods to solidify a marriage. The minimum cost to buy a bride is 30 pigs and a mother pig, although today the price has inflated to as high as 20,000 Kina dollars. The emphasis on material payments has distorted the real value of the tradition, which is to serve as a representation of a newly formed bond. Instead of a social contract between the bride and groom's clans, bride price is seen as a symbol of ownership. Many people believe that paying expensive bride prices build a mindset in men that treating wives as submissive property rather than equal partners is justified. A senior police officer, Inspector Piamia, in Western Highlands state, bride price is a major contributing factor to mistreatment. His office receives many reports on violence against women, but whenever his men set out to arrest the husbands, they defend themselves by saying they had paid bride price. The police are often told the blame is in the wives and that husbands decided to teach them a lesson. Bride pricing also hinders women from escaping an abusive marriage. According to Amnesty International, sometimes men demand for a full bride price back as cause for divorce, and families are unable or unwilling to comply. A woman from the highlands called Alicia, for example, had to give 25 pigs and 900 kina in order to be free from her violent husband. And my second supporting argument is that the police's indifference encourages men to commit crime. Advocates and observers interviewed by Human Rights Watch say police often refuse to investigate or arrest suspects of sexual violence. Sometimes they wait for medical reports, ask for money, or simply ignore cases. Once cases are under investigation, resolution is attempted by means of couple counseling or mediation, which is out of line with international standards by the UN Women that recommend pro-arrest approach. The police also do not tell survivors of available options in seeking family protection order, and rapists are arrested are often freed quickly on bail. As said by an NGO official, people's first reaction is not to call the police. case in point, a 39-year-old mother called Janella has tried 17 times to get help from the police. She had married at 14 when her husband immediately started abusing her. Things worsened when her husband married a second time. Her husband broke her arms and the second wife attacked her. Janella explained, "All 17 times I went to the police, my husband says, I want to say sorry to my wife, and the police released him. They just told my husband not to do it again." And my last argument, sorry, I said like 4 arguments, but it turns out I only have 3. Anyway, my last argument is that this is the countering argument, and the statistics are sensationalized. So it's no doubt that 70% is a staggering percentage, especially when talking about the number of sexual violence victims. Admittedly, the government of PNG falls short in collecting data. There's no structure for compiling nationwide data, meaning crime victimization surveys and statistics on reported crimes are close to non-existent officially. Efforts to document are largely anecdotal. However, many non-governmental bodies have attempted to collect accurate data. The 70% statistic comes from the Human Rights Watch. The organization collected it based on 46 interviews, half of which involved sexual violence survivors from both the rural highlands and the urban central province. There are also additional interviews with local officials. Although it may not be the most complete, the research is representative of the issue. If anything, the figures may not be reflective of the gravity of the problem. Not all victims report assaults because they may feel afraid or hopeless, while hospitals and medical services fail to record crime. That's all I have for now. Thank you for watching.